Tomorrow, there's a lot of games, and we've got some stuff going on tomorrow morning. So when I would normally be reviewing or doing the preview, there's going to be somebody here. So I'm just going to do the preview tonight, post it tonight, and I apologize to people who are going to be like, oh, seriously, Shannon? I apologize. But for Europe, it's kind of your day right now. Everything's coming up Millhouse for you guys. And yeah, this signifies that all of my jerseys, from what I can tell, are now all in this room. All of them. The fashion jerseys have had to move out, but all of my NHL jerseys are in this room, and I'm in the process of trying to figure out the countdown and how to do it and everything else. And yeah, watch for some surprises in said countdown. Now let's start off with Boston and Tampa. Now, because it's Boston and Tampa, you would expect a great game. I don't know if I'm expecting a great game tomorrow, and I'll say why. Boston's 46-20-9. Tampa's 58-14-4. Does Tampa really desperately want to get 63 wins and break the record? Or are they at a point now in the season where they just want to make sure they're healthy going into the first round, so maybe they'll take the foot off the gas a little bit? Is Boston far enough ahead of Toronto now that maybe they'll get a little bit demotivated? Could we see a game tomorrow night between two teams that just sort of get through the game and the scores may be 2-1, the shots are like 48 between them? We could. On the road, Boston's 18-13-6. That is my only concern with Boston, is that their road game isn't fantastic. Home, they're fantastic. But in the second round, if they play Tampa, that could be a problem. Tampa's 31-6-2 at home. Over their last 10, Boston's 7-3. They've won 4 in a row. Whereas the Tampa Bay Lightning are 8-2, and they've lost their last game, which of course was against St. Louis. They're 7 points ahead of Toronto, are those Boston Bruins. And for Tampa, I just wrote number 1 because they're first overall and nobody can catch them. And again, it's a matter of, we're less than 2 weeks out. Do you start sitting some guys? At what point does John Cooper start asking guys in the room who needs a night off? Somebody wants a night off. There's no shame in that. Definitely no shame in that. If you could take an extra couple of days to heal yourself up for the playoffs, do it. Scoring over their last 10 games, Marchand with 5 goals, 11 assists. He's quietly having an amazing season. Bergeron, 9 goals, 5 assists. And by quiet, I mean Marchand. When was the last time we talked about him getting suspended? Exactly. Coyle, 1 goal, 2 assists. Heinen, 1 goal, 8 assists. Achari with 2 goals, 2 assists. Chara with a goal and 2 assists. And John Moore with a goal and 2 assists for the Bruins. On the Tampa Bay side of things, Stamkos, 6 goals, 6 assists. Kucherov, 6 goals, 8 assists, point. 4 goals and 6 assists. 4 goals, 6 assists. Killorn with 4 goals, 2 assists. Anthony Cirelli has 4 goals and 5 assists. Victor Hedman, 2 goals, 9 assists. For Tampa, he's been excellent this month because it's March. Chernak with a goal and 2 assists. On the goaltending side of things, I expect Boston to surprise me. It'll probably be Rask. He's 4-2 in their last 10 with an 882 save percentage. Halak's 3-1 with a 923 save percentage. On the Tampa side of things, I expect Vasi. He's 6-2 with a 916 save percentage. Domingue is 2-0 with a 904 save percentage. Both teams have won a game between them. This is the third meeting out of 4. I believe they meet as well on, I want to say, Friday, like one of the Fridays I think they meet. I know they meet again. But like I said, I don't know how motivated these teams are going to be tomorrow and how much motivation is going to be looking forward to the playoffs and start just taking a little bit of a break. Those teams that are killing themselves to get into the playoffs, you've got to keep doing that. But for the teams that are home and cooled, they've clinched a spot, they've clinched home ice, in Tampa's case especially. In Toronto, very little chance of them catching Boston at this point, so maybe we'll see, right? Next up, Dallas. Oh, Dallas. Where do I start with Dallas? They're 3 points clear of missing the playoffs. So while I know Arizona fans aren't happy, they've lost 5 in a row, 3 of them in extra time. They're not losing a lot of ground on Dallas. So maybe their concern shouldn't be Colorado. Maybe it should be, hey, we can knock Dallas out. Dallas is 38-31-6. The Winnipeg Jets are 45-26-4. On the road, Dallas is 16-17-3. Now, in Dallas's defense, they have been better on the road over the last month. At home, Winnipeg 25-9-4. They're excellent at home for the most part. Last 10, Dallas is 5-4-1. They've lost 2 in a row. The Winnipeg Jets are 6-4. They won their last game. Dallas is 6 points behind St. Louis. But like I said, they're only 3 points clear of missing the playoffs altogether right now. And going into Winnipeg, don't give up, Arizona. It's not over yet. I know you guys are kind of down, but don't give up. Nashville is 4 points behind Winnipeg, and St. Louis is 6 points behind Winnipeg. So for the Jets, they're not in the position that I discussed Boston and Tampa being in. They're not in a position where they can start resting guys and looking forward to the playoffs. I would say if they can get another 2 points ahead of Nashville, then we could start talking about them being rested and home and cooled. But they're not there yet. Scoring over their last 10 games, Sagan is sitting with 2 goals and 9 assists for the Stars that are 6 points behind St. Louis. Radulov, 7 goals and 3 assists over their last 10 games. Ben with 3 goals, 4 assists. Hintz, 4 goals and 2 assists. Nichushkin, 2 assists. Polak, 2 assists. And Klingberg, 2 goals and 5 assists to round things out for Dallas. On the Winnipeg side, Wheeler, 3 goals and 5 assists. Connor, 7 goals, 4 assists. Aline with 6 assists. Benetobi the last 10 games. Perreault, 3 goals, 3 assists. Kopp, 4 goals, 2 assists. Sherratt, a goal and 3 assists. And Myers with a goal and 5 assists to round out the scoring for the Winnipeg Jets. On the Dallas side of things, well, you kind of have to go with Bishop, I think. He's 6-1 in their last 10 with a .974 save percentage. Hudobin's 0-3-1, but his save percentage over that period is .932. Crazy. I expect Hellebuck here. He's 4-2 in their last 10 with a .929 save percentage. As far as I know, Comrie's still up. Brossois still up in the air. And if as long as Comrie's up, Hellebuck will start, I would think, every game. Dallas has won 2 out of 3 meetings between these teams this year. They're going to be trying to make it 3 out of 4. If you're looking at who more desperately needs the win, it's Dallas. And I hope to see a sense of urgency, especially early in this one. Because if Winnipeg gets off to a good start, they score that first goal. For Dallas, that could equal a long night. Next up, Detroit. It's the Red Wings, 27-38-10. If they had lost last night, they would be sitting second worst in the league with second best odds in the draft lottery. Instead, they won. Maintained that 2-point lead over the LA Kings, who have more regulation and overtime wins than do the Detroit Red Wings. And tomorrow night, Detroit, they go into San Jose. Can they win again? They won in Vegas. San Jose's 43-23-9. Now on the road, Detroit is now 13-20-5. At home, San Jose's 23-8-5. Over their last 10, Detroit is 4-5-1, whereas San Jose 5-4-1. Detroit won their last game. San Jose lost their last game in post regulation, but they've lost 4 in a row altogether. Have San Jose. Detroit, of course, is out. No point in talking about how far behind they are anymore. Whereas San Jose is 6 points behind Calgary and nearly 5 points ahead of Vegas. It's in the realm of possibility. Now, Vegas has a tough opponent tomorrow night, and they're on the road. But it's in the realm of possibility that if San Jose loses and Vegas wins tomorrow, that conversation of who gets home ice in the first round of that series could really heat up quickly. So San Jose should play with some sense that they really have to win this game, even though the odds of them catching Calgary basically have dissipated. Over their last 10, Anthony Mantha now with 3 goals. Athanasiou, 6 goals, 3 assists. Nielsen, a goal and 3 assists. Christopher N. has an assist. Darren Helm with a goal. Hronik has 2 assists. Cronwall, a goal and 5 assists to round things out for Detroit. On the San Jose side, Hertl, 4 goals, 3 assists. Nyquist, former Red Wing, 3 goals, 3 assists. LeBanc with 3 goals, 4 assists. Donskoy, 5 assists. And Barclay Goodrow with 2 goals and an assist. Burns, 6 assists. And Vlasic with a goal and 9 assists. Goaltenders, I would think Howard after the win over Vegas. He's 3-2 in their last 10 with a .910 save percentage, but they do tend to go to Bernier when I think it's going to be Howard. Bernier's 3-1 in their last 10 with a .916 save percentage. On the San Jose side of things, I don't know. It's hard to say Jones because it's Detroit, right? They could very well go with Dell here. He's 1-1-1 in their last 10 with an .855 save percentage. Jones, is 4-3 in their last 10 with a .911 save percentage, and San Jose did win the other meeting they had with Detroit earlier this season in Detroit. Again, for San Jose, it's a matter of they need to stop the bleeding. This is the perfect team to play against in order to turn things around, because I really think home ice advantage is going to be big in this year's playoffs. You look at some of the home records of teams like just Tampa, Winnipeg, San Jose, what Vegas has put together, Calgary. These teams, the home records they're putting together are pretty intimidating, and it feels to me like home ice could really be important this year, more so than other years, but we'll see, right? Anyways, moving along. Florida, 33-20-12. Yeah, they're out. But until they're mathematically eliminated, they're kind of not. And tomorrow night they go in against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Toronto Maple Leafs at 44-25-6. The odds of them catching Boston are slim, but Florida's kind of had their number this year as well. So as much as Georgiev might get under their skin, Florida Panthers absolutely get under their skin as well. On the road, Florida's 14-17-6. At home, Toronto's 22-14-12. Over their last 10, Florida's 5-4-1. They lost their last game. Over their last 10, Toronto's 4-4-2, and they lost their last game in overtime. Now, I know Toronto fans are going to focus on the fact they've won 4 out of their last 10. It's just your standard slump during the season. San Jose's 5-4-1 over their last 10. Pittsburgh's had slumps this year as well. Boston's had slumps as well. Calgary went through a slump a few weeks ago. That's all I see with Toronto. I really don't see the need for complete and total panic. The only way that I would say, all right, now it's time to panic, is if Gardner and Dermott are back for the playoffs. If Toronto was facing the Boston Bruins with 2 of their top 6 defensemen, is Dermott the top 4? If he is, then it's 2 of the top 4 defensemen out. Then yeah, Boston runs them over. But I'm not there right now. Technically, Florida's 10 points out of the wild card spot. Technically. They don't have a lot of games left to play. They have 7. So they're basically done. But again, mathematically they're not. So they may be motivated tomorrow against a Toronto team that's 7 points behind Boston and 6 ahead of Montreal. So another thing that's kind of interesting is the fact they're 6 ahead of Montreal. So if they slump and if Montreal heats up a little bit, like, can you imagine? Boy, Toronto media'd go nuts. On the Florida side of things, Huberdeau, 5 goals, 12 assists for him, 17 points in their last 10. Barkov, 6 goals, 13 assists. Hoffman, 5 goals, 5 assists. Vetrano, 2 goals, 2 assists. Borgstrom with a goal and 3 assists. Ekblad, goal and 6 assists. Weegar with 3 goals and 3 assists for Florida. On the Toronto side, Hyman, 5 goals and an assist. Marner, 2 goals, 7 assists. Nylander has 7 assists. Kadri has 4 assists, so they're both kind of pulling the Toby for Toronto right now. And Nazem Kadri's getting the Toby treatment. I'm hearing his name a lot as a guy who may very well. Oh, he'll be gone out of Toronto. I hope that the media types that I've heard say it, I hope they're wrong, and that Kadri's not playing his way out of Toronto because he's the sandpaper they need up front. He comes up big in the playoffs. Matthews, 5 goals, 3 assists. At least those kind of guys usually do come up as being important in the playoffs. Riley, 4 goals, 2 assists. Zaitsev with 4 assists. Goaltending-wise, I would go with Luongo. He's 1-1-1 with a .909 save percentage for Florida in their last 10. Montembeau's played a ton. He's now 4-3-1 with an .893 save percentage overall. I would start resting him a little bit. After the way he got shellacked against the Bruins last night, I would hope tomorrow night they give him a rest. Just give him a night off. I would expect Anderson here, although you could go with Sparks because it's Florida, right? But Florida's pretty good at scoring goals. So I would be tempted to go with Anderson. It's really going to be interesting to see who Babcock goes with. Anderson's 3-2-2 in their last 10 games with an .881 save percentage. Sparks is 1-2 with a .905 save percentage. And Florida has beaten Toronto twice in 3 tries so far. And for all the talk about whether or not there's some kind of a rift between Dubas and Babcock, there might be. But you know what? We've seen before where there's some kind of rift between coaching and between the coach and management, and then they win some stuff, and suddenly that all gets better. That could happen with Toronto. Next up, Buffalo. So the Sabres are 31-34-9. They are fully in tank mode. And they're in against the New Jersey Devils, who are 28-39-9. And this could be very interesting. And it could be very interesting because both of these teams have had their rough patches. This is a chance for New Jersey to get out of the bottom row on the power rankings. Absolutely. A victory over Buffalo, and I'd drop Buffalo down into that bottom row and move New Jersey out of it. On the road, Buffalo's 11-21-5. At home, New Jersey's 18-14-6 over their last 10. Buffalo's 1-8-1. They've lost 2 in a row, whereas New Jersey's 3-6-1, and they won their last game. Both teams are out of the playoffs. It's mathematically impossible. Eichel, 3 goals, 2 assists in his last 10 games. Skinner, a goal and an assist. Nylander, 3 goals, 2 assists. Mittelstadt, 2 goals and an assist. Okposo with a goal and an assist. Dahlin, 3 assists. Bogosian, 1 goal, 3 assists for Buffalo. On the New Jersey side, Agostino, 3 goals, 3 assists. Coleman, 3 goals, 2 assists. Zacha, 2 assists. Stafford, 2 goals and an assist. Rooney with 2 goals and an assist. Green, 4 assists. And Carrick with 3 assists on the blue line for New Jersey. And, of course, New Jersey's getting healthier, which may very well favor them at home against a very inadequate on the road Buffalo Sabres team. Goaltenders, I expect Hutton for Buffalo. He's 1-4-1 in their last 10 with a .905 save percentage. Ullmark's 0-4 with an .869 save percentage. And what I wonder with Ullmark is something I've been talking about this year, which is that a rookie goaltender goes through the NHL, and on that first go-around, they can put up really good numbers, and then teams may get a book on a guy. They're like, all right, we got to shoot here. Or, he does really well from this side, not from that side. They get a book on him, and then the numbers sometimes go ugly like this. So we'll see how Ullmark performs next year for them. On the New Jersey side, I kind of expect Schneider. Blackwood was in the last game. He's 2-3 in their last 10 with an .878 save percentage. Schneider's 1-3-1, but has a .917 save percentage over that same period. This is their third meeting. Both teams have won a game. We'll see how it goes tonight between a team that was, for me, expected to be better than last year. Didn't happen. And Buffalo, a team that was supposed to be better than last year. And really, honestly, they don't look better than last year. This is actually more upsetting than last year because of how they started the season. So let's see how they do against each other tomorrow night. That should be fun. Next up, last one on this board is Pittsburgh and the New York Rangers. So the Penguins are 41-24-11. The Rangers are 29-32-13. And the Rangers can't get this tank worked out properly. You're supposed to lose a lot, and you're not supposed to get to overtime. And you're supposed to lose more than 5 in regulation out of 10 when you've got Buffalo crawling down below you, and you've got New Jersey, and you've got Florida, who kind of halfway tank at points, and then they come back. Detroit, and of course, the Ottawa Senators. The Rangers are keeping their heads above water, which we'll see how it works out for them in the draft. On the road, Pittsburgh's 20-11-8. At home, the Rangers are 17-12-8. Over their last 10, Pittsburgh 6-2-2 with 2 wins in their last 2 games, whereas the Rangers are 2-5-3 in their last 10. They won their last game, which was Georgiev's win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's not the team's win, it was Georgiev's win, let's be honest. On the Pittsburgh side, they're 2 points behind the New York Islanders. They're 2 points ahead of Carolina. It's a very, very tight squeeze in that division right now. The New York Rangers, of course, they're done. They can't make the playoffs. Over their last 10 games, Crosby now with 3 goals and 4 assists in their last 10. Rust with a goal and 2 assists. Bugstad, 3 goals and an assist. McCann, 5 goals, 2 assists. Kessel, 3 goals and 6 assists. Goodbranson with an assist, but he's been playing pretty well since he went to Pittsburgh. You're welcome, Penguins. Schultz, 3 assists for him. And on the Rangers side of things, Strome, 5 goals and 2 assists. Pretty good scorer for the Rangers. Buchnevich, 6 goals and an assist. Brendan Lemieux with a goal and 3 assists. Every time I watch a Rangers game, Brendan Lemieux is sitting close to the camera, and I swear, every time he's yelling at the other bench. There isn't a time where Lemieux just comes in, sits down, and looks straight ahead. He's looking over the other bench and yelling at guys on the other team. And the funny thing was, in Toronto, the game against Toronto, they showed him looking over and yelling at the other bench. Then they showed the Toronto bench, and it looked like it was the end. I'm not saying it was, but nobody in Toronto was facing the other bench. So the way that they framed it made it look like Lemieux was arguing either with his reflection in the glass, the guy's back, coach, or just arguing at the entire bench that was ignoring him. It was kind of interesting. He plays a lot like his dad did. Yeah, Claude Lemieux was known for chirping a little bit. Howden, 1 goal, 2 assists. Kreider, he's their Toby with 2 assists in their last 10 games. Pionk with a goal and an assist, and Brady Shea has 3 assists. On the goaltending side, I expect Murray, although you could go with DeSmith because it's the Rangers, right? But Pittsburgh desperately needs the points too, so you can't take any game lightly. Murray's 5-2-2 in their last 10 with a .934 save percentage. DeSmith hasn't been a problem either. He's 1-0-0 with a .974 save percentage in that same period. On the Rangers side of things, I expect Lundqvist, because Georgiev played the last game. Lundqvist is 1-3-1 with a .924 save percentage in their last 10. Georgiev is 1-2-2 with a .934 save percentage over that same period. Pittsburgh's won both meetings between themselves and the Rangers this year. I don't see any reason for the Rangers to necessarily turn that around. And now I got to change boards. Okay, Vegas and St. Louis. So if you're a Blues fan, you watch them beat Tampa. Now they get a shot at the team that has the best record since the All-Star break. Or no, the best record since, not since the All-Star break, the best record since the trade deadline. Why do I mix those two up? I guess they're one's a break in the schedule and the other one's kind of an awesome moment, I guess. Anyways, right now Vegas is 42-27-6. St. Louis is 40-27-8. The records are very close. Vegas is a couple of points ahead of St. Louis. And on the road, Vegas is 19-17-1. At home, St. Louis is 20-15-2. And this should be a very intense matchup for both teams. Vegas, I think, has their sights set on San Jose and catching them. And I think for St. Louis, they haven't given up on catching Nashville and maybe even Winnipeg. Over their last 10, Vegas is 8-1-1. They had an overtime loss in their last game against Detroit, of course, whereas St. Louis is 6-2-2. They've won 3 in a row. So another hot streak for St. Louis. Let's see how far they can go with it and if Vegas is going to be their victim tomorrow. Vegas is 5 points behind San Jose. They're 11 points ahead of Arizona. So basically guaranteed at least third spot. We've known that for weeks. Now it's a certainty. At one point a few weeks ago, I was talking about how they were only maybe 4 points ahead of Arizona. Arizona was sneaking up on them. Not anymore. St. Louis is 2 points behind Nashville. They're 6 points ahead of Dallas. So St. Louis is in much the same position. It would take a disaster for them not to end up finishing third. That disaster seems to be Dallas right now. This is potentially a very fun matchup between these two teams. Scoring over their last 10, William Karlsson, 4 goals, 8 assists. Smith with 6 goals and 7 assists. Stone, 4 goals, 4 assists. Eakin, 5 goals and an assist. Nosek with 2 goals, 2 assists. Englund, a goal and an assist. And Merrill with 2 assists for Vegas. On the St. Louis side of things, Braden Shen, 4 goals, 5 assists for him. Tarasenko, 2 goals, 4 assists. Jaden Schwartz, 4 goals and 2 assists. Hat tricks help. Perron, 4 goals, 4 assists. Maroon, 5 goals, 3 assists. He's heating up at the right time of the year. Parayko, 6 assists. And Dunn with 2 goals and 4 assists to round things out for St. Louis. Goaltending-wise, is Fleury back yet? So the baby's been born. Congratulations to Marc-Andre Fleury on the arrival of a new bundle of joy in his family. Does that mean he comes back now, or what's going to happen? If not, Subban's been really solid, and they've played well for Subban. He's 3-1-1 in their last 10 with a .901 save percentage. I can't see Lagacé getting in there, so if Fleury's not good to go tomorrow night, Subban likely plays. On the St. Louis side of things, they win with Binnington. Allen's numbers have been good, but they win with Binnington. He's 5-1 in their last 10 with a .918 save percentage. Jake Allen's 1-1-2 with a .939 save percentage over that same period. St. Louis has won both meetings with Vegas this year. We'll see if they can make it a clean sweep with 3, and that would do a lot for St. Louis. They would then be very, very curious as to what goes on in Minnesota tomorrow night. They're going to be curious anyways, but if they can beat Vegas, the hope is still there that they can get home ice in the first round. Speaking of Nashville, they're in Minnesota tomorrow night. So for Nashville, we know what's on the line for them. A team that finished with all kinds of pennants last year. They have banners all over from last season. They're a President's Trophy and division winners and conference winners. They also won Best Baked Goods, most yellow jersey. There's just, you look, it's there. You kind of have to squint to see it, but it's up in the rafters. All kidding aside, Nashville's 42, 28, and 6. And the only banner they're looking to get this year is that one for the Stanley Cup. And maybe being an underdog helps them. On the Minnesota side, they're 35, 32, and 9 overall. And watching the game between Chicago and Colorado tonight had to be torture for them because it put them a point further behind Colorado and it allowed Chicago to get a point closer to them. On the road, Nashville's 19, 15, and 4 at home. Minnesota's a woeful 15, 16, and 7. I'm going to do a series after we know who's in and who's not in the playoffs on where teams missed the playoffs and how and why. And which ones it was just the whole season they missed and which ones it was just a portion of the schedule you can look at and go, that's where they missed. For Minnesota, their home record really kills them. Over their last 10, Nashville's 5-4-1. They lost their last game. Minnesota's 3-5-2, and they lost their last game as well. That upward momentum they had after they got Fiala and they got Donato, that's gone. Nashville's 4 points behind Winnipeg, 2 points ahead of St. Louis. Minnesota is 2 points behind Colorado, tied with Arizona, and they're 3 points behind Dallas. So the fat lady hasn't sung for Minnesota or Arizona, but she's getting her tickets ready to potentially go in there and sing for these teams soon. In their last 10 games, Forsberg with 5 goals and 2 assists for Nashville. Granlund a goal and 3 assists. Simmons a goal and an assist. Smith 3 goals, 2 assists. Grimaldi with 3 assists. Ellis a goal and 5 assists. Subban with a goal and an assist. And if PK could really elevate his offensive game, that would help Nashville greatly. On the Minnesota side of things, Zucker 4 goals and an assist. Fiala 2 goals, 3 assists. Donato 2 goals, 6 assists. Foligno with a goal and 2 assists. Fair with a goal and 3 assists. Spurgeon 2 goals, 2 assists. Nick Seeler with an assist in their last 10 games. And we get to the goaltenders. I don't know, Rene? I would think Rene's going to play almost every game from here because they're trying to still win the division, at least make it so Winnipeg has to work for it. Rene's 3-3-1 in their last 10 with a .917 save percentage. Saros is 2-1 with a .904 save percentage over that same period. On the Minnesota side, Dubnyk is 3-5-1 with a .903 save percentage. Stalock is 0-0-1 with an .857 save percentage. Nashville's won all 3 meetings with Minnesota. Minnesota needs to win this final meeting this year to have any hope. And I wonder when I look at some of these numbers, like, are they going to bring Dubnyk back next year in Minnesota? Do they tear it apart? What is the new general manager going to do with this roster should they fail to make the playoffs? They've already brought back Stahl, so what else? What are you going to do? Who do you move out? And what do you do to fix things in Minnesota? And is this going to involve a retool? The new term that for fan bases and for management groups that don't have the patience for rebuild, retool. It's just a retool. Sort of like the Rangers were a retool. It's starting to look like a rebuild. Next up, finally, last but not least, the Kings are in against these guys, the Flames. The Flames, number 1 right now in the West. They've been just on a tear over the last week, but that was against, Ottawa, Columbus, Vancouver, all teams sitting outside playoff spots. And now tomorrow night they get LA. This is good for the Flames, though. This means that they're playing against teams that are weaker opponents. It's not a bad thing to have that at the end of the schedule. Can it make you kind of lazy going to the first round? I guess. But it gives the Flames a chance to do kind of what I was saying with Boston and with Tampa, where you can kind of rest guys down the stretch. If you're able to get up by 3 or 4 against LA at some point tomorrow night, you can start resting Goudreau a bit, resting Monahan, rest some guys. And just, give them a bit of a light schedule so they're not so beat up going into the playoffs. The records are like this. The Kings are 27-39-8. The Flames are 47-21-7. On the road, LA's 12-19-5. At home, Calgary's 25-7-5. Last 10, LA's 4-6. They've won 2 in a row. Whereas Calgary's 6-4. They've won 3 in a row. So the LA Kings do come in playing some pretty good hockey and trying to play spoiler. Of course, they're out, whereas Calgary, they're 6 points ahead of San Jose, and they're 11 points ahead of Vegas. So, at worst, they're second. But for them to fall to second, they'd have to have a complete and total meltdown from here, and I just can't see it. Over their last 10 games, Kopitar, 2 goals, 4 assists. Brown, 6 goals, 4 assists. Kempe with 2 goals, 3 assists. Carter, 2 goals and 3 assists. Clifford with 2 goals. Martinez, 3 assists. And Walker, 2 goals and an assist on the LA Blue line. On the Calgary side, Lindholm has a goal and 4 assists. Tkachuk, 9 goals, 6 assists for Matt Tkachuk. He knows his contract's up in a few weeks. He knows. Jankowski, a goal and an assist. Ryan, 3 goals, 6 assists. Hathaway, 3 goals, 3 assists. Giordano, 2 goals, 9 assists. And Anderson with 3 assists. And I don't say his contract's up in a few weeks as in the Kings are going to be out. I mean, you don't get paid in the playoffs. Your salary covers the regular season. Your pay in the playoffs is something completely separate, unless you have bonuses built into your contract, which I can pretty much guarantee Tkachuk doesn't. Maybe he does, but I doubt it. And so next couple weeks he's playing to up the value of that next contract. It's going to be very interesting to see what Calgary gives him. So yeah, goaltenders, I expect Quick. He's been playing a ton. He's 4-4 in their last 10 with an .892 save percentage. Campbell, 0-2 with an .883 save percentage. On the Calgary side, do you go with Smith? Smith's not a very popular guy in Vancouver right now. There was some idea that maybe he embellishes. He does. Mike Smith has embellished for years. It's nothing new. And here's the thing. If it works, I can't begrudge the guy for it. I really can't. That being said, it's probably Riddick tomorrow. Riddick's 4-2 in their last 10 with a .901 save percentage. Smith, 2-2 with a .935 save percentage. Calgary has won both meetings they've had with the Kings this year. I would expect that to be 3-0 versus the Kings after tomorrow night. But again, are Calgary in a position where they can start, letting a guy sit out and have a night off here and there? We are at that stage. And it's feeling like it. Part of what was bothering me today was like, I want the playoffs. Let's get to the playoffs. And it makes it hard that last 10 to 15 days of the year knowing the playoffs are coming and the hockey is just going to be so awesome. 60 minutes of greatness. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.